Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Akwa Ibom State. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning to be alive. A great day to rise and shine wherever you are. This is Rise and Shine. We're coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. My name is Uyai Aniekem. Thanks for tuning in.
Now, I am Frank Zeded. Glad to have you join us this morning. I do hope you had an interesting night rest and you're ready to kickstart the Tuesday and make a lot of money, get a lot of alerts that will keep you smiling for the rest of the week. Yes, it's Rise and Shine, and we sure will be here for the next 2 hours, keeping you company and helping you kickstart your day properly.
Yeah, matters arising, of course. When you say keeping you company, we are going to be bringing you abreast with most of the conversations and things happening in Nigeria. Of course, this is post-election season. Most of the issues that are still rising out of the country are election related, especially when we look back on the presidential election from the 25th of February that was, marked and marred with a lot of flaws. There continues to be reactions from different quarters at this time. I think that was last week or thereabout that we had was it in Edo State now, but we had women protest topless because they were protesting the results of the just concluded elections. But these and more are things that make us sit here and Rise and Shine this morning. Of course, we'll not forget to remind you to be a part of the community. Like, share, comment across all our social media platforms. Now, all of this you can find it at spectrumtv.ng. Somewhere along the line, we're going to put on our phone lines. I would like for you to call in, make your contributions. Feel free to send us WhatsApp and text messages and make your contributions on the show this morning. Francis, what are your thoughts? What's the biggest issue burning for you this morning?
Well, it's probably the internal crisis still brewing within the People's Democratic Party.
Okay.
Yesterday, we talked about the suspension of the national chairman, DTH by the word in Benue State. And today, we are having the G5 coming out again with the previous chant, you must go. And of course, we know the G5 were not kidding when they told the PDP either give us justice, fairness, and equity, let us see internal democracy, or it's going to be a divided house. And we saw what happened as a result of that divided house. Wike stood his ground alongside with the G5. And of course, the outcome is a repeat of what happened in 2015 with former President Goodluck Jonathan. So yeah, it's a developing crisis, and I just wonder when that crisis is going to be put to rest.
Something else on the back of that EOCHA's issue of suspension is the fact that a court has also upheld the fact that he must not be seen parading himself as the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party. Yesterday we talked about the fact that the People's Democratic Party at the national level was saying we are going to probe this suspension move by his ward in Benue State, right? But now we are even having one of the plaintiffs who had moved up to the court and got a judgment for against EOCHA from parading himself as the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party until a delivery is made to the judgment that was filed against him in court, as it were. So this issue is actually is getting larger by the day than expected, because one would have thought that once the elections were done and dusted, and the G5 governors still stood their ground, did not cooperate with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar to run the elections with him, one would have thought that that would be the end of what we are hearing in terms of the infighting with the People's Democratic Party. But it looks like the fight to get Ayu out of that national chairman seat has just gotten more interesting as the day is turning.
Well, if you fail the people's trust, if you fail to do due diligence when it's time or when it calls for it, then you're putting yourself at the center of an increasing eternal crisis where people might not be able to let things go. And as far as the PDP is concerned, it's not just about you must go. For Atiku Abubakar and the leadership of the party to have shut their ears and closed their eyes to the issues raised by the likes of Nyesom Wike and Samuel Otom of Benue State and the other G5 members. And of course, it's not just about the G5 members. Recall back here in Akwa Ibom State, we also had, those issues of disgruntled party members because of what transpired just prior to the primaries, after the primaries elections. But to a large extent, Akwa Ibom State were able to put themselves back in order through the reconciliatory committee that was headed by former Senator, I think Senator Bob. Yes. Okay, so after that was sorted out, everything, kind of played itself out. But at the national level, it seems EHRU and his, team of gang members felt it was not something that, was going to continue after the election. So remember, he was always saying, okay, we'll sort this out after the elections. Let the elections hold. If Atiku Abubakar emerges as the winner, then we'll think about, restructuring the leadership of the party.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, Atiku Abubakar didn't win, in as much as he's in court. For now, we know the president-elect is Ahmed Bola Tinubu, pending when there is any court judgment or legal action taken against that effect. But then, I want to believe if the People's Democratic Party had the interest at heart, they would have sorted out these internal crises and wrangling long before now. And then yesterday I said, as far as the word is concerned, you cease to be relevant in politics when the word level has not recognized you. I mean, politics is local.
It's surprising to see how strong the word levels actually
but
are.
It's local.
Yeah, I know, like that's the basis for where it all begins from. But one would think, I mean, you've risen up to the point where you are the national chairman of your party. I mean, the national should be the ones to be able to give voice, because if we look into this internal crisis since Nyesom Wike and the G5 governors were pushing for it, it was more like there was no one apart from Atiku Abubakar who could take EHRU out of that seat. But like I said yesterday, it's a surprise that, someone had this card in their pocket waiting for this time. The timing of, still pushing for his removal is amazing. Now, one would think, the allegations is more like his word is saying it is on the grounds of anti-party activities. But, I mean, you can just say that maybe there are other cards on the table that we know nothing about. But EHRU is also of the opinion that nobody can move him around in that instance.
Well, as far as the party is concerned, yes, you've risen to the highest position in the party, but here's the ground story. You would not have been able to have risen to that position without first having registered at the ward level. So, EHRU registered at the ward level. That registration at the ward level gave him the footprint, gave him the springing board to get to where he is today. So, I didn't see the move coming, and I'm wondering why the G5 had to keep that particular card up until this moment. Let's assume they're the one pulling the strings, because of course it's coming from the very grassroots. But then with the court injunction, what that means is the planned disciplinary measures supposedly to be taken against Otom will not take place, not under the leadership of EHRU. So that completely truncates whatever plan they had, whatever disciplinary measures they had for the G5 and members of the G5 and every other disgruntled element within the People's Democratic Party. So it's a crisis that just might not end anytime soon, unless, of course, the key issues under contention are being sorted out. And what are those? Let the power distribution within the People's Democratic Party show that there is internal democracy. Not every power residing with the North and the South going back with nothing. And that is crystal clear. If they're able to stand that point and then, reshuffle the leadership of the party, I think this crisis will die a natural death.
It will die a natural death. Now, so just to, add some more flesh to it, there's also been a clash between the Atiku campaign council now with the G5 governors. Now, there is an IU must go activity going on the ground. We have now this is actually a post-election crisis that is rocking the People's Democratic Party. And again, yesterday, of course, this is a developing story. Yesterday, it took another turn as the Benue State High Court in Makurdi restrained Senator EHRU from parading himself as the national chairman of the party. The restraining order marked the resumption of the hostility between a group backing the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar and 5 governors who refused to campaign for him during the 2023 electioneering. The court ruling came barely 24 hours after the executive of Ayu's iGov ward in the Boko local government area of Benue State suspended the PDP chairman for alleged anti-party activities. Now, Ayu's suspension came 4 days after the National Working Committee of the PDP suspended former governors Ayo Fayose of Ekiti, Ibrahim Shima of Katsina, Chimaroke Namani of Enugu, and the former Senate President Anyim Pius Anyim, and others of alleged anti-party activities. Of course, so these are even the things that had gone down before we see the fact that the ward, his ward came and responded in this manner. Now that's, just saying. But then we are looking at the fact that I was also concerned at the number of suspensions and disciplinary calls that were made by the People's Democratic Party. I mean, look at the names. We are talking of Fayose, we are talking about Anyim, quite a number of, big shots within the party now, which are also of the southern extraction, Francis. All of these people were going to be facing one disciplinary measure internally in the party or being suspended, and from the national level, of course. But now we see that, like I say, a greater card has been rolled out by his ward at this time, and it looks like every other disciplinary measure would have to stand down and hold off for the beat until this is sorted out.
Well, if we have to look at the word anti-party activities against politicians, which is, of course, a rampant phenomena within the political terrain, you look at, first, an individual within a particular political party openly canvassing for support for the opposition, which is one of the things that you would say, you'd say the G5 had done. And then on the other side, put in perspective, you see also that when actions that you do are capable of disrupting the internal democracy of the party, it can also be said to be an anti-party movement or anti-party activities. Now, if you put that on the person of Ayu, what was the decisions that he made? What were the actions that he took that could be termed as anti-party activities? First, the issue of internal democracy, where he was asked to resign and he did not resign. And of course, that led to the G5 breaking out from the party, refusing to campaign for the presidential candidate of the party. And of course, many would say, debatable though, that probably that's why the PDP could not, clinch onto power at the helms of affairs in Nigeria during the just concluded presidential elections. Whether that is true or not is not something where we can verify. It's not even something that can be proven at this point in time, because we never can tell what the outcome of the elections would have been with the G5 still within the folds of the PDP. But then, from all body languages, from all actions, from all indications, from all the calls for Ayu's resignation and his refusal to resign, one can say he's also been part of anti-party activities, because his activities or his dealings has led to the internal crisis rocking the party. I like that angle you're coming from, because when we are looking at anti-party activities, we're mostly looking at when you leave your party to do something outside. But I like that perspective. The fact that you are in the party, and the activities you're carrying out within the party is putting out at war against each other. But this is some really nice angle also that we must bring to bear around this Ayu suspension story. Now, his suspension was announced on Sunday by his ward secretary, Mr. Vigina Doom, who spoke on behalf of the ward chairman, Kashi Philip. Now, he explained that the party chairman, Yocha Yu, had worked against the party in the just concluded election. Now look at the other clauses. Doom, who read a statement signed by 12 out of the 17 ward executive members. So this is really a strong move by his ward, of course. Stated it is on record that he also failed to pay his annual subscription fees as provided
under Section 8 and 9 of the Constitution of the PDP 2017 as amended. I mean, as national chairman, how are you not paying your dues? Okay, that's just one angle. And then further investigation also revealed that he did not vote during the governorship and state assembly elections held on the 18th of March 2023. Of course, it's also discovered, of course, that his closest allies had worked for opposition during the just concluded elections. Now, two matters that are strong. You are the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, but you are not paying dues as the constitution of your party that you are the chairman has instituted. Number two, now we even had the houses of assembly, the Senate and all of that even take a break so that everyone could go back and participate in the election. But the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, allegedly so, did not vote during the gubernatorial elections. Those are great anti-party activities, if I must say.
Well, that definitely is a shock for me to hear that the leadership, the chairman, the one in control, the one who his duties is to oversee, is actually owing the party. But I'm not surprised anyways, because this is Nigeria and a lot of things go unnoticed. A lot of things go unattended to, unless there are reasons for people to start digging out to find out those things. There's a tendency for Iyorchayu as the chairman to, just sit there and do his thing without necessarily budging. After all, he's the #1 man at the helms of affairs. So every other person from the national to the state level to the ward level is answerable to him. So the tendency of, overlooking those things, believing that loyalty or allegiance or one way or the other people would waive those things is there. And then probably this is also coming to as a surprise to him for not voting. I don't think he really has any reason, because I mean, there have been breaks, there have been holidays granted at all levels for everybody to get back to their ward and begin to canvass for votes and then also go out to vote. So if he did not vote, that could also be termed as anti-party. So you didn't come out to vote. Probably your one vote could have brought out, made the difference. The party can use that as a standpoint against him. If you had come out to vote, maybe people in your respective ward who saw your presence could have been influenced, to vote for you. But you didn't turn up. That means indirectly you're telling the people, I'm not supporting my party. And so that can also be taken as an argument. You were not there. So how can we be sure that, you entrusted or the people who are supposed to be around you will do it? Now, if you come back to Akwa Ibom, during the Ogbonhota's administration, when he was trying to install a successor, one of the things that worked against him was, as at then he was fighting for the 13% derivative that Akwa Ibom is currently enjoying. And as at when he's supposed to have been at the primaries, he was outside. And many of the people within the political space have said, if he was at the venue of that primaries, he probably would have succeeded with his standpoint. But just because he was not there, it was easy for his preferred candidate to be, overturned. So that's probably, could be a standpoint for the party to take Iyorchayu out as well.
Now, Iyorchayu has given a response that is also twisting. Now, like we said, this internal crisis is going to expand beyond expectation, because this is Iyorchayu's response to the suspension. He gave this response yesterday. Of course, he said the PDP constitution expressly prohibits any organ of the party or executive committee at the ward, state or national level to take any disciplinary measure against any member of the National Executive Committee, arguing that only the NEC could suspend him. Now, these are arguments that he's raising. Of course, he made this statement via his special advisor on media and communication, Simon Ibobo and Swan. Now, he described the announcement of his suspension as mischief, as drama and propaganda, adding that it was an exercise in futility that is derivable from gross ignorance and desperation. So if he's saying that once you are what do we call that, instituted as a national committee member, your ward does not have that much power to be able to take any disciplinary measures against you except the NEC. Those are also claims that have to be straightened out by the leadership of the People's Democratic Party and verified by what the constitution of the People's Democratic Party says. Because, I mean, in my thoughts, even a layperson would think, if you are aware of the powers that your ward holds, possibly against you, although you are the national chairman, I think the likes of you would have known better to play their political cards right by their ward, especially because you know that they are, put down there as a ward for you at, no matter how high you rise in the party. I would have expected that the likes of you would have, played their cards right by the ward politics and not find himself in this kind of mix-up. But then we are now having warring factions between inside the constitution of the People's Democratic Party. That would need a lot of straightening out by them for them to decide whether you stands suspended or if he remains the national chairman of the PDP.
Well, in as much as Iyorchia has come out to give his own argument, I think I'm trying to Google the constitutions of the People's Democratic Party. But pending that, it is an interesting twist that the case has already gone to court, and when the court is involved, it's a little bit tricky, and you have to bring that back to the Electoral Act, where the court would say, okay, it's internal party crisis or internal democracy is the party's affairs, and so the parties have to do due diligence. We don't know what the outcome or what the interpretation is going to be like, but regardless of the scenario, bringing in the court factor further intensifies the grievances of the issues at stake. It further states, reinforces the fact that the faction of the G5 and whoever is, plotting or planning or executing the cards that is seeking for Iyorchia's, removal from the party are definitely very determined. And then if they are able to succeed, then it would be another very big blow on the People's Democratic Party. But of course, I'd like to believe that Iyorchia and his team would also do the best they can to ensure that, it doesn't get to that point. But then, whether or not we like it, one truth that must be established is the fact that the word is still the grandmother when it comes to politics. And when anything goes wrong at the word level, then every other thing can be upturned.
That's such a strong balance right out there. But of course, as we expect, this particular story will continue to evolve. Let's see where it lands the People's Democratic Party. But still on the heels of the just concluded election, so many things are still happening. Yesterday we saw some women protest naked at US Embassy over the 2023 elections. Now we saw some aggrieved women on Monday protest half naked in front of the United States Embassy in Abuja over the outcome of the 2023 presidential election. The women, who are members of the Free Nigeria movement, were at the US Embassy to report the alleged fraud that happened during the 2023 polls. The protesters, who were armed with various placards, called on the US government to place a visa ban on the instigators of violence during the poll. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress, APC, was declared winner of the February 25 presidential election by the Electoral Umpire, INEC. Tinubu was declared winner of the polls amid claims of electoral fraud and massive rigging at various places in the country. His closest challengers, candidates of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi of the Labour Party, have since petitioned the Election Tribunal to seek their separate redress. So this is where we are. Still on the back of the just concluded elections, so far women, taking to protest half naked in front of the U.S. Embassy. We will not forget to speak of the, high involvement of the international community in the just concluded elections, most of which we have seen them give their report. And also, Francis, if you look into some of the reports that have been given by some of these international bodies, some of them are actually conflicting, where you hear them say one thing in one breath and then, try to douse it in the other. We hear sometimes, an international body, we say, oh, yes, we had the elections, there were violence, but we can also say that the elections were free, fair, and credible, and we just want INEC to clear up the issues surrounding. And then there was a particular report by an international observers, international chaplains, police, something. Their names don't quite come, but I know it's an international conglomeration of police chaplains. And then their review of the elections really conflicted, what most Nigerians experienced and what they saw on ground. And we are asking, like you rightly raised yesterday, can we really lean on the observations of the international community to expect that a redress is going to be made in the just concluded rounds of election cycle in Nigeria? But now we're seeing the women take to the streets also to protest the results.
Well, as far as international communities are concerned, and different organizations, there are also persons with different interests. And when you're talking about people coming into Nigeria for obvious reasons, you cannot also take about the fact that probably prior to their coming into Nigeria, they've had contacts with people. These people have interests. So there's also the likelihood of these international communities being compromised. But if you look at the majority of the statement coming out from the international observers, let's look at the EU, for instance, you would see that, yes, to some extent, they've told us that, yeah, the elections that were conducted had some good things to take away. We had the introduction of the BVAS, which, of course, as far as the accreditation exercise is concerned, was working perfectly.
Yes.
But then they also stated out clearly that apart from the introduction of the BVAS, apart from using the BVAS for accreditation of voters, the promise by INEC in terms of electronic transfer of the result from the polling unit to the IREF didn't happen, which was one of the major game changer that INEC had promised Nigerians. Then you come down to the issue of thuggery, you come down to the issue of voter intimidation, you come down to the issue of disenfranchisement of Nigerians. That they've also categorically stated and well documented with the different videos, the different pictorial evidence across the states of Nigeria. Now, don't forget, in as much as these international organizations come into Nigeria, there are some that can also be inflicted by the Nigerian worm, corruption. So if they come in and there's somebody somewhere who has interest and is able to get through to them, the likelihood of them being able to be fair, objective, and critical is not there. Okay? So if that happens, they're also going to tilt towards supporting what is being said in some quarters of the Nigerian society. But the place, the group that want, there are groups that that regardless of whose interest, regardless of who is involved, they're going to stay true to the call, they're going to stay true to the mandate. And one of such is the European Union. So if I want to go by any international observer report, I would go with them, because I know that these persons are not going to tell you one thing and mean the other. They back it up with pictorial evidence, they back it up with video evidence, they back it up with footages of what they have documented. And you already know that as far as investigative journalism or investigation is concerned, when persons go deep down to investigate, do due diligence, there is no way they're going to come out with something that you can question. And that has been the background where the US and the EU are saying, INEC, tell us for a fact that the elections that you used, the result that you used to announce Ahmed Bola Tinubu as president-elect is authentic, is truly representative of the image and the mandate of Nigerians. So for people of that standing, for an organization like that to challenge the leadership of Nigeria, to tell Nigerian, the electoral umpire, to come out and clarify, to come out and prove and authenticate, it tells you the level of work they have done. It tells you how sure they are with the fact and evidence that they have before they can make such statements. Because these guys don't just wake up and make statements. We've seen it happen over time. They make those statements, they have evidence to prove it. So if it gets to the law court, they can prove themselves.
Yeah, it's strong at this point, but of course, following the February 25th national elections, the United States joined other international observers in urging the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to improve voting processes and technical elements that experience flaws in the voting round, towards the March 18 elections, which appeared to have had significant operational improvements, as polling stations generally opened on time and most results were visible on an electronic viewing platform in a timely manner. Now, the United States has renewed its call for any challenges to election results to go through established legal processes, which must not be interfered with. The further call for Nigerian people, the further calling the Nigerian people to work together as they participate in and continue to strengthen the country's vibrant democracy. Now, this is like in response to the protest that we saw the Nigerian women go have in front of the U.S. Embassy. These and more are things that are still coming off the back of the just concluded 2023 general elections in Nigeria. We have more conversations that will be coming to you on Rise and Shine, but at this point we're going to move to the news brief desk where Mary Joseph is on standby to bring us tidbits of global news. When we return, more conversation will come to you on Rise and Shine. To stay with us.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by gross level. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
government, Secretary General, delegates.
This was the Lagos Nigeria for Spectrum TV to improve fertilizer counting.
Good morning. Welcome to the morning news brief on Spectrum live from Uyo. I am Mary Joseph. We begin the news brief this morning with a report that to avert a nationwide strike by the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Governor Godwin Emefiele, have met with the leadership of the Congress. The NLC leadership has issued a 7-day ultimatum to the federal government to end the naira scarcity in the country. NLC President Joe Ajero had threatened the Congress that they would go on strike if the issue was not resolved at the expiration of the ultimatum. Ngige subsequently invited the Apex Bank leadership and the NLC to a meeting to resolve the matter. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has fixed Saturday, April 15th for governorship and national and state assembly supplementary elections. The Commission made the disclosure yesterday where it noted that arising from its meeting, it decided that all outstanding governorship and national assembly, state assembly supplementary elections will take place on Saturday, 15th April 2023. The announcement comes barely 1 week after the governorship elections of Kebbi and Adamawa states were declared inconclusive. In the meantime, the Inspector General of Police IGP Usman Akali Baba has warned that the Nigerian Police Force (NPF) will not entertain any attempt to stir in violence across the country, especially at the fallout from the recently concluded general elections. IGP Akali Baba sounded the warning during a meeting with commissioners of police from the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT, as well as other senior officers. He said the police and the Independent National Electoral Commission are investigating all electoral infractions during the 2023 general elections, adding that all grievances and crimes committed will be tended to. Let's head now to the foreign scene where the government of Mississippi has warned that more severe weather could be on its way to the U.S. state of Mississippi following the tornadoes which killed at least 26 people. Governor Tate Reeves said significant risks remained in part of the state. Reports say hundreds of people have been displaced in the wake of the tornadoes which tore through Mississippi and Alabama on Friday night. And finally, in sport, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have won the return leg of their 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against the Wild Dogs of Guinea-Bissau. Nigeria scored 30 minutes into the game with a penalty by Moses Simeon to go top of the table in Group A with 9 points. The Eagles last Friday had lost the first leg of the match at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja and failed to secure a win which saw them slide to second place, with the Wild Dogs claiming the top spot. We'll have details of these stories and more in our news at 12. I'm Mary Joseph. Let's head back to Rise and Shine where we have Francis and Uyai on standby. Do have a wonderful morning.
Heads of government, Secretary General, delegates.
This was the Lagos Nigeria for Spectrum TV to improve fertilizer counting.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by gross level. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the matters council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine, and of course coming to you live from Spectrum Television. And you know, we're beaming live from Uyo, the capital city of the state. Is always an interesting moment to be here, helping you kickstart the week properly. And of course, it's a fresh Tuesday morning, and it's Monday making morning. I like to see a lot of smiles. I like to know that by the end of today, you'll be smiling. That's because every goal you've set out to achieve today will become a reality. And so far, we've been taking you around the world of politics in Nigeria with the post-election crisis, particularly the internal crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party and the different reactions from the Nigerian society as far as the just concluded national elections is concerned, where most Nigerians are of the opinion that the mandate of the people was stolen from them, and the unexpected will that the people did not want on different occasions and several quarters has been imposed on the people, and that has been backed by many assertions from both people within and outside the shores of Nigeria, the international communities, the EU inclusive, and the elections have been said to have been occasioned by marked rather by massive rigging, voter intimidation, voter molestation, and violence, and different incidences that does not augur well with democracy, and of course cannot be said to have ensured free, fair, credible, and transparent and successive elections. And yes, that's how much we have brought you through, but we still have a lot more coming for you. But I'd like to come to you. The issue of crisis in Nigeria and post-election crisis in Nigeria has been a very consistent phenomenon. Like literally, there is no year in Nigeria that, you know, after the elections, you don't get to see litigations going on in court. And as of yesterday, we had over 100 cases already in court, over 100 different people seeking to reclaim what they call the stolen mandate through the lower court. And from the presidential elections to the states elections, it's been the same thing. And prior to this moment, Nigerians were told that it's going to be a game changer, and that game changer, if it was well implemented, would have been able to, you know, what a lot of Nigerians had anticipated with the promise of INEC would have been that this would have been for the first time the one election that Nigeria will conduct, and then it's going to be to the barest minimum. We wouldn't have seen a lot of litigation. And like it was said yesterday on the streets of Twitter, if INEC had given to Nigerians even up to 60% of what they had promised, a lot of Nigerians would have been satisfied with the outcome of the result. But INEC did not go even up to 25% as far as Nigerians are concerned.
A lot of things are still happening, and as part of, you know, conversations, still looking at the just concluded just the concluded elections. Now we are looking at the fact that we also have the likes of Charlie Boy, who is an activist now, but of course some generations past we know him as a very renowned entertainer, so to speak. Now activist Charlie Boy says APC is still seeking interpretation. Now there's a lot of controversy that has been brewing on the heels of, you know, who should have been announced as president-elect coming off the just concluded February 25 election, especially when we are looking at the APC and Tinubu. Now this is Charlie Boy saying APC and Tinubu still waiting for more interpretation for 25% in FCT. There is a screen grab of something he said here on his tweet that we're going to have you see. Now he said, you know, just to give juxtapose his context, he says when JAM says you must pass at least 5 subjects and English language, if you like pass 8 subjects without English, you know, and in some cases without mathematics, you will not gain admission, right? So this is something that he's saying. Now if the guidelines for the election says you have to win 25% of, you know, votes in the FCT and in some other places, certain indices have been placed on the ground for you to be pronounced as, you know, president-elect. Charlie Boy is asking, is APC still waiting for someone to break down the mathematics for them to understand that like the PDP and the Labour Party will say they have a stolen mandate on their hands?
Well, the APC and the PDP, the Labour Party are still going to go back and forth until this issue is put to the logical end. And Charlie Boy's page has been very hard because he's been consistent with advocating for justice, for fairness, for equity, for the will and the mandate of Nigerians electorates to be returned. And different choices made, he said, calling on lovers of APC and Asiwaju to converge at Unity Fountain in defense of mandate freely given by Nigerians, and he laughed. Now, that is in response to a statement made by the Presidential Campaign Council of Asiwaju, Ahmed Bola Tinubu. But then, we look at the statements that has also come out from the statement that has also come out from the Charlie Boy's space, apart from the JAM reference where he had stated about the issue of
the
passing
25%.
Yes, the 25%. Now, if you place that side by side with the issue of Nigerians writing why, it is categorically stated 5 credit, including math and English. So if you have 8 credits and you don't have English, but you have math, it is not complete. You have 8 credit, you have math, you don't have English, it is not complete. Specifically, math and English are the 2 priorities here. So every other subject that you have credit for should back up the math and English. And in this context, if we bring it down to the APC PDP saga that is currently ongoing and the Labour Party, it has been said by different political analysts that the APC, the result that saw the emergence of Ahmed Bola Tinubu of the APC as the president-elect did not meet with the criteria that the electoral umpire had given. That you're going to win a certain percentage across the respective state and the FCT, 25%. Now, we saw that Ahmed Bola Tinubu did not have 25% in the FCT. And the question is, why should the electoral umpire who had given the rules to the game change the rule of the game after the game must have been played to almost the end of the game? In fact, at the end of the game. So you gave the rule, the game started, the game came to a conclusion, and then at the announcement of the result, you changed the rule of the game. Where does that work? In Senate climes, as Nigerians would say, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu should have resigned honorably or should have been prosecuted. But we're still waiting to see if those calls made by Nigerians will come to limelight. And of course, some part of Nigerian, some section of Nigerian society believe it might never see the light of day. Why? Because these persons are of the APC.
Of course, we saw a lot of guidelines that were put out to guide the process of the elections, be significantly, what would I call it? Was it overhauled or ignored, or they were sidelined? But we saw a lot of guidelines that were put out for the elections not followed. But if you remember very clearly, during the collation of the results in Abuja, and we had the likes of Senator Dino Melayu raise concerns about the collation that was going on and the discrepancies that were seen, along certain results, and the chairman of INEC, Yakubu Mahmood, continued to stand his ground that the process was going to be done and dusted with. So when we look at, their guidelines versus the results that, we have on ground, it raises a lot of questions. But I think the bigger masquerade in the room is who is actually going to call INEC to order, because they seem to have just, made the decisions by an unwritten guideline that Nigerians do not have. But obviously, INEC and the INEC chairman actually have a playbook that they are playing by. Because, why would they continue to have certain results and, what would I call it, offshoots of the elections that are not in tandem with the Electoral Act of 2022 as amended, and even the guidelines that were given for the elections? These questions continue to rise. And not even forgetting that, he's budgeting 3 billion naira to come and explain to us the proceedings of the just concluded elections. He wants to use, cut across all of the tribunals that will come out of all the states where elections were held and all of the petitions that have arisen. So he's going to use part of that 3 billion naira and explain to us why the 25% winning catchment that was, set aside for whoever will be announced as president-elect was not adhered to. Upon what guidelines now did you announce who we have as president-elect. It's just simple. If there are other guidelines and clauses in the Electoral Act or the INEC guidelines that the rest of the populace did not see, I think as we go forward, it's going to be Mahmoud Yakubu's place while he begins to face all the court invitations to explain to Nigerians that this and these are the indices by which we came to the result that we, gave Nigerians after the February 25th elections.
Well, there's definitely going to be a whole lot of issues, and it's still a challenge on the person of President Muhammadu Buhari to ensure whether or not is going to bequeath to Nigerians a very strong, credible institution as far as the electoral process is concerned. I like to still stay with Charlie Boy. There's something he just tweeted about a few hours ago, and he said, "To those who place tribe above the truth and justice, today there is a competitive market of alternative truths. The battle is not to define truth, but to have the power to actualize your tribe's truth. Now, woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who turn darkness to light and light to darkness, who replace bitter with sweet and sweet with bitter." That's an excerpt of Charlie Boy's tweet this morning, still talking about the hula balu going on within the political space, where people see things as they are, but because of tribal sentiment, because of ethnic sentiment, because of party sentiment, have refused to speak the truth the way it is. Now, if you bring that back, he's also made another statement that, democracy in Nigeria is under siege, and the question is, INEC must return the mandate and the judiciary must render justice. That's still a tweet from Charlie Boy this morning, and that tweet so far has gotten over 44.2k views and retweets of that particular tweet by Charlie Boy. Now, you ask all of these questions. Recall not too long ago we had the CJN, Justice Arewola, under attack for an alleged secret meeting outside the shores of Nigeria with the president-elect Ahmed Bola Tinubu. And now, if you ask, what are the indices? Will the judiciary eventually deliver justice? And if the judiciary is compromised, is there a possibility of any of the candidate who is presently in court being able to retrieve what they call the people's mandate? Because reports from across quarters is that the people's mandate has been stolen, and the people's mandate must be returned to the persons the people gave them to. And the only place that can be done is through the judiciary system. Now, I'd like us to give soundbite to the response of the CGN when he was questioned as to what the judiciary under his watch will do for Nigerians, courtesy of the demands of Nigerians on the judiciary system. When we come back, we'll continue on this conversation.
What do Nigerians expect from you as acting CJN of Nigeria?
What Nigerians expect from me is to comply, preserve and abide and protect the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And so be it. That is what I will do. Essentially, with the cooperation of my brother justices of the Supreme Court, we shall not fail Nigerians. That is it. Abide.
Of course, the CJN, no, you people should be fair. But of course, the CJN promises to stand on the part of justice and to serve Nigerians. We usually would not know what gets in the way of that service, but we do hope that at this time, just like Charlie Boy has said, if INEC as an umpire has failed us, we are looking forward to what the justice system of our country will do. It's a widespread cry at this time that mandates were stolen. So it's not like when you have a small fraction of people trying to defend their votes, trying to defend what they thought they had. It's a widespread. I mean, we are looking at from north, south, east to west. for the first time in Nigeria for a very long time, Nigerians are speaking, the same language. Now, when I say Nigerians are speaking, a larger percentage of Nigerians are having the same cry, as opposed to, like I always say, the fact that our president-elect was announced is the truth, boils down to the fact that certain Nigerians in this country, of course, exercise the freedom of their voting rights by voting for him. That is why he had the numbers that could be used to announce him as the president-elect. If no one, because this is my argument, Francis, we had other parties during the presidential election that came up with 0 votes, with 15 votes, with 20 votes for the seat. You know that there is no way under the sun that those numbers would have been multiplied to announce them as president-elect. But if we are having allegations of rigging or malpractices in the process of the election, we also can say that we had a large number of people to a very large extent vote for Bola Asiwaju, who that made it possible for the numbers to be easily tweaked here and there to make him emerge the winner. It wouldn't have been from 0 to 100. Do you understand my point? So we are collaborating in this work as of now, but we have a wider percentage of Nigerians who believe that the mandate that we have on ground is not the mandate representing a larger percentage of the desire of the people. Now, the electoral umpire, as INEC, has said one thing. Now we are having Nigerians and some candidates move to the courts in Nigeria, hoping to have another, speaking, hoping to get a redress of the elections. But we do not yet know how these issues are going to pan out. Several conversations are still panning out. Of course, we just had that feed there from the CJN saying he is going to serve as justice and serve Nigerians. Fingers crossed for all of the things that can be coming out. But at this time, we're going to take a quick short breather, and then coming up next will be our daily spotlight, bringing you information of things on the front pages of our national dailies.
Welcome back. It's still Rise and Shine. Of course, we're up to bringing you the major stories breaking over across the major newspapers in Nigeria. We're starting with the Punch newspaper this morning, and of course the big story on the front pages of the Punch newspaper for today is Ayu must go. G5 governors Atiku campaign clash. Ayu must go. G5 governors Atiku campaign clash. And of course, underneath that, you have a Benue Court affirms Ayu suspension adjourns case till April 17. It is morally offensive for Ayu to remain chairman after electoral defeat. G5 camp. Only NEC can remove me. Ayu, Wike others selfish, says Atiku Presidential Campaign Council. Still on the front page of the Punch newspaper, you have Ngige Emefiele mid NLC over planned strike. Bank queues persist. Ngige Emefiele mid NLC over planned strikes. Bank queues persist. We also still have on the front page of the Punch newspaper, on page 22, we have reps invite ministers, firms over 2.4 billion naira oil sell. Reps invite ministers, firms over $2.4 billion oil sell. You can find the story on page 22 of the Punch newspaper. Still in Punch, you find Nigeria can defeat terrorism like you care. Oh, wow. And that's coming from Boris Johnson. The page story is on page 16 rather. And of course, don't travel to state of origin for census, says NPC. don't travel to state of origin for census, says NPC. That's talking about the population census. So I'm kind of wondering, if people don't get to travel to their state of origin, how are we going to be counted with our families as it was done in 2006?
You're counted where you're living.
You get to find out more about the story on the page of page number 13, Punch newspaper. Still on the front page of the newspaper, you have Ramadan. VC senator-elect advised Muslims on kindness, sacrifice, and of course, Lagos tenant stabs friend to death during argument. Abacha died on eve of dad's planned execution, Diaz's son. Those are the headlines that you find on the front page of the Punch newspaper for today.
The very next paper I'll be taking is the Nation newspaper, and the very big story there on the front page of the Nation says court order restraining IU deepens PDP's post-poll crisis. National chair dismisses suspension. Wike backs action. Ogun to pick Diaz funeral bill, says Abiodun. Makinde thumbs up Lautech. We have here Ngige meets Emefiele Ajero to prevent NLC strike. CBN banks now have cash. Page 6. Colloquium puts off for prayers to mark Tinubu's birthday. Page 6. 77% Nigerian women risk skin cancer for using toning cream. Page 25. We have here how to make Nigerians unleash potential by ex-UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. We also have here US $100 million for 5 West African nations. Of course, that is coming on the heel of the Vice President Kamala Harris' 3 African nation tour. We also have here USAF to become Scotland leader. Supplementary polls hold April 15 in Oyo, Imo, Edo, and others. No mandate was stolen, group tells Atiku Obi. Okay, where we have a picture image there where we have Tinubu, the people's mandate. Okay, some people believe that, and of course we are all free to believe what we want. 489 electoral infractions recorded, 781 arrested during polls, says police. These are all the stories that we have on the front page of the Nation newspaper.
Of course, we head into the Vanguard newspaper. Leading the story on Vanguard is 9 days after INEC holds on to result in 183 constituencies, Damawa, Yobe, Jigawa, Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, top states with a weighted result. APC on the right there, you have APC leads in battle for state legislatures with 421 seats, PDP 303, Labour Party, ABGA, NNPP, YPP, SDP, and ADC win slots. INEC fixed 6 April 15 for supplementary governor, National Assembly, and State Assembly polls. And of course, still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, you have no one stole your mandate. Pro-Tinubu protesters tell Atiku Obi. PDP crisis court restrains IU from parading self as national chairman. And still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, on the header you see cash rationing persists amidst improved supply to banks. Cash rationing persists amidst improved supply to banks. And of course, cash crunch. Ngige waits in meets NLC, CBN over planned strike. And on the insurgency fight, ISWAP commander Abu Muhammad executes deputy over military attack on hideout. That's a good news for the Nigerian society. Hope Nigerians would say they continue fighting themselves to the detriment. Okay, so still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, we have any attempt to stifle press freedom unacceptable, U.S. Embassy. Any attempt to stifle press freedom unacceptable, U.S. Embassy. These and more you can find on the different pages of the Vanguard newspaper, and of course you can get to read them up for today.
We really are going to come back to that ISWAP commander Abu Mohammed, who executed his deputy over military attack on hideout. We need more of such things to be happening. So let's move to our very last paper for the morning, Nigerian Tribune. And the big story on the Nigerian Tribune says court stops IU as PDP chairman. My suspension by ward executive exercise in futility, says IU. Fight has just started, Wike tells IU, page 15. Like I said earlier, I don't think that this issue is going to be coming to a quick close anytime soon. It's going to be stretched further because, I mean, look at the twists and turns already in the case. And we also have here Dia will be given state burial, says Ogun governor, pays condolence visit to family. That story can be found on page 3. Court blocks Oyo government account in 4 banks, over 3.4 billion owed, sacked local government bosses. Cash swap policy disrupted our payment plan, says Oyo government. We also see here Iwanyanwu denies calling Yoruba rascals, page 4. General election. Police arrest 781 suspects, recover 132 assaulted weapons nationwide, says IGP. Affair donates 10 million pounds for young Africans in London's King's College. We also have federal government to engage over 885,000 personnel for census, says exercise to last for 5 days. We also have here INEC to conduct supplementary elections in Adamawa, Kebbi, others on April 15. And those are all the stories that we have here on the front page of Nigerian Tribune, and those are all the stories on Daily Spotlight this morning. But several issues arising out of this front pages this morning. But I think something that holds that we can quickly two things for me. The ISWAP commander Abu Mohammed, who executed his deputy over the military. I mean, we continue to talk about insecurity being a major problem in Nigeria. The Buhari-led administration continued to laud its efforts for forestalling a lot of insecurity and stemming it to a very large extent. They deserve some accolades. Do all Nigerians, think the same? No. But I think we have made pretty much a good, an improvement has been there, so to speak. But then this is good news, like you said. If we have more of this happening in the country, it means we'll just get to a point that, ISWAP people will just call themselves to order. But this is good news because it also says one man down, the rest. The Nigerian security forces still continue with the battle, so to speak.
Okay, so why I would be celebrating this as a Nigerian, if we look at insurgency fights, the essence of the agitations, the essence of those who are fighting the state is basically to destabilize things in the country. Now, when the forces of the state overpowers that of the rebels or the militants or the terrorists, one of the things the leadership of the terrorist organization would often do would be resorting to punishing its captains, its general, as a way of serving as a deterrent to other generals to ensure that they do not get captured by the forces of the nation. Now, one way this would work out, or two ways this can work out, is if the army intensifies efforts against terrorism and further hit harder, because with the execution of this general, other generals are going to want to sit up. And there's also going to be a new mandate on the generals to try and overturn the military. So the military has more work. But for me, it's a good thing because this shows how they spread. This shows that the forces of the terrorists, they already know that, backed against the world, in front of them is the military. They have no way to go. So it's a fight for survival. And this is where the Nigerian military has to stand its ground and further push the terrorists out and wipe them out. But on the whole, as a Nigerian, I would say, please, let's have more of generals being executed by, these organizations that have, consistently put lots of human lives in danger. But in as much as that may be, in as much as Nigerians will celebrate the victory, many Nigerians say, yeah, let's also keep watch, let the military intensify its fight, and of course, let there be enough weapons, ammunitions, and all logistical aid for the Nigerian military to execute its
and intelligence, I must say. I just want to be throwing open our phone lines for our viewers and Nigerians to make their contributions on the show this morning. Several things on the front page of our newspapers and some conversations that we've had since the beginning at 7 a.m. If there are things that you want to pick on, feel free to make your contribution. Please do keep it sharp and concise when you call us in the phone lines. Do well to turn down the volume of your television set. If you're having a problem reaching us on phone, please do well to send us WhatsApp or text messages, and we will be able to take your contributions on the show this morning. But different issues arising, big one there, celebrating the fact that some ISWAP commander turned on his deputy for an attack that was carried out by the Nigerian military over an hideout. Of course, something here that is also big, Francis, it surprises me. We've been having post-election conversations for a while, but I think the Tinubu, the Batified people are just suddenly waking up to realize that they should be a part of defending the mandate that was given to Bola Siwaju at this time, because we have here as a picture image on the Nation newspaper, some people coming out and carrying placards reading Tinubu, the people's mandate, and we are hearing here no mandate was stolen. The group is telling Peter Obi and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the rest of Nigerians. One would think it's been 2 weeks running on the 3rd since the elections had completed. The Batified followers have been rather quite silent, and if we will even compare the kind of jubilation that broke out of Abia State when they had Alex Oti announced as the gubernatorial elect for the state, we would also say we did not see the Batified followers come out with a lot of energy across the country when the president-elect was announced. I mean, you had a win for your preferred candidate, but we did not see any kind of jubilation and celebration breakout whatsoever across the country. But now I would say that we have a sudden wake up here by the Batified Nigerians. Batified there?
Yeah.
Batified, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I was mixing it, but then the Batified followers in Nigeria, we have them waking up now and trying to tell us that their candidate is the people's mandate and no mandate was stolen. These are more things you can call us about. Our phone lines are displayed on the screen. Let's have a conversation with Nigerians. These and more things happening around the country. What's your take?
Well, for me, I would say the beatifieds or the supporters of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, the president-elect, are rather waking up too late to the party. I mean, it was expected, if truly that was their choice and they stood by that choice, it should have been widespread celebrations that, should have been a front burner across the major newspapers. But we'll get to wait and see how that is going to turn out. It's about time for us to begin to welcome your calls. And of course, I think we have a first caller on the line. Hello, welcome to Rise and Shine. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello, turn down the volume of your television set and go ahead.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
My name is Austin.
Austin? From where?
I'm calling from Kano.
From Kano. All right,
welcome.
Austin, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution.
I'm fine. Good morning. I really appreciate what you guys are really doing on Spectrum TV. Spectrum TV has been one of my best TV stations so far. I always stay put to your programs and the way you highlight us about things happening around the country. I will say more power to your elbows.
Thank you.
So what I'm trying to say in the essence is this: what is really happening in our country is really absurd. I don't know. We are all getting tired of this country. Even yesterday, I was literally discussing with my wife that we need to sell up our properties in this country and relocate out of this country. Seriously. So I don't know. It seems getting out of hand. People are no more. I don't understand. We are not just. People are confused. What is really happening? One problem. Okay, look at the other last election. 2016 was inconclusive. Was tagged inconclusive all over the whole place. This one, this year is 2003 is let's go to court. I don't know whether this country is a movie scene or is it Hollywood. I don't know what is happening. Action film everywhere. Problem there, problem here, problem here. I don't know. We're just tired. Tomorrow you come up with this problem, tomorrow you come up with this problem. We all Nigerians know what really transpired in 2003 election. That the election was rigged and it was fraudulent. Every Nigerian know the winner of this election. So I don't know. Okay, when Ahmed Bola Tinubu won the election, there was no celebration all over the country. As I'm talking to you, right in Kano here, where I stay in Kano, the day Tinubu won, they announced Tinubu as winner of the election. It was like a burial. It was like everybody was mourning the whole over Nigeria. It was like mourn, like somebody died. Understand? So I don't understand. So everybody know what's really happening. Okay, look at what is happening in Nigeria embassy yesterday. People we are protesting, naked women we are naked on the street of US yesterday, protesting against the outcome of the 2002 election. I don't know. I don't believe we need to return the people's mandate. This is what the people want. You need to give them what they want.
All right. Thank you so much.
They can't impose somebody on us. It's not possible. They can't impose Tinubu on us. It's not possible.
Thank you so much, Austin. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your commendation and your contribution. Serious issue there. He says in Kano State, they did not feel the pulse of any kinds of celebration when the president-elect was announced. That was something that was widespread, actually, in the whole country. But then, Japa syndrome is something else we really need to talk about. We need to stay and work in our country, you know. Okay, let's take this other call. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
I'm Honorable Prince Akola Julius. I'm calling from Benue.
From Benue. All right, Honorable
Welcome,
Prince.
Honorable.
All right, thanks for calling. Go ahead. Please turn down the volume of your television set. Go ahead.
All right. I want to appreciate you guys for your program. Spectrum is one of my favorite programs I always watched.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today, I actually want to talk about the issue of going to court when election is won or lose.
Go ahead, Honorable Prince. We're with you.
Oh, we lost that particular call. We do hope Honorable Prince can get back, you know, to the call. I mean, an active politician can tell us what the issues are. Okay, let's take this other call. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Tony. I'm calling from Benue.
All right, Tony. Good morning. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to talk on the outcome of election and people demonstrating.
Okay.
I think this is not time for people to demonstrate. The matter is going to court, and as a matter of fact, is in the court already, tribunal, and the matter is being arranged for judgment to kick on. What I will advise people to do is this: to agitate. Nigeria Bar Association is agitating that the judgment, the trial should be showing people live in the television. I think that's what we'll be asking for now. But for protesting will not yield us any good. And then secondly, for PDP crisis, I think what PDP is reaping is as a result of not doing things in order. PDP is knowing on people sitting on their parlor and then deciding who will be chairman, who will be the secretary, who will be the local government chairman, who will be the governor. And that is their character since 1999 up to date. And that is what is bringing problem within them. And if they didn't change for it, I think soon PDP will die. Except if they make their house together and then make peace within themselves and start doing things rightfully. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you very much, Tony Eze. Tony Eze raised a very serious observation. Now, we have Femi Falana back a call for the televising of presidential election tribunal proceedings. We already had people, you know, beginning to push that going forward, as the tribunals will begin, Nigerians want to view real time, you know, as this process. That's a big thing we're going to come back to. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Halima. And I'm calling from Kogi State.
From Kogi State, Halima. Good morning. Please, can you turn down the volume of your television set and go ahead?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Thank you. This issue of Tinubu, Atiku, and the Labour Party. Nigeria, we are not one. There's no cooperation. 8 years is not 100 years. Somebody has won. He has won. You can come next time. It's not family something. It's not inheritance something that you say, I must be there. I must be there. Protesting, going to court. I see if there is love between Nigeria. They are brothers. There's no need to fight themselves because I don't support any party. I don't belong to party, but I vote. You understand? There's no need to say, you is my party. I won. You, I won. And two people to join out against Tinubu. God, church pray, must pray that whosoever will come, that will favor Nigeria, let him come. The prayer of this election this time around is slightly different. Then the pattern of election this time around is quite different. It just came newly. Everybody knows. When we voted in Kogi State, everybody were aware. The security were tight. There's no place, there's no way you can do because there's a machine. You understand? We should try reading something. This is not something that you said it must belong to my family. It's not a title. You understand?
All right,
we should
Halima.
try creative. We should try creative. Our leaders are not creative in Nigeria. That's why there's a problem in Nigeria. I don't agree. You don't agree. We don't agree. This man says, let's join hands and do things together. Let them come together. That is my own advice. So, doing this, they are suffering us with it.
Okay, thank you so much, Halima from Kogi. Of course, she's explained and made her own points. There is no need for us. I think you were trying to raise that question. Do all elections always have to end in court? I think that was the conversation we're going to have with our guest today, but couldn't turn up. But definitely we'll look into that issue tomorrow. Do we really need to end our elections in court? Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Rise and
My
Shine.
name is Akachuku. I'm calling from Lagos.
Akachuku from Lagos. Good morning. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, sister, please, before I go on, I would like to have your personal number, but I have something to discuss with you.
Please just go ahead with the issue on ground this morning. Thank you, Akachuku.
Now, based by the last speaker, she's the APC. Let me just tell you this fact. If she can be hearing me, let me ask her just a simple question. If she go for exam and she know that she did well, and they not give her the result of the exam where she did, can she be happy? She's talking that because now she be APC. Okay, for last 8 years in Nigeria, can she say she's feeding well? Can she say that the country is going well? Now she come out and say whoever that want to be, she play. Upon say the person where they claim that he win, he pick Muslim ticket that is not constitution in Nigeria. And now she come out telling us it's not this and that, giving us a boost story.
Right.
Now, my dear people, as country is going on, we will continue to play. The will of God must be done.
All right, thank you so much.
For these people to come out this last minute, begin to protest that nobody has stolen the mandate of PDP or Labour Party is a lie. They don't know what they are doing.
Thank you, Akachuku.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Akachuku.
that was really a last-minute wake-up call. Really, it's really, it's like, you know, you've been sleeping for such a long time, you did not know what happened, and then someone like, you people are here sleeping, you people should wake up.
Something is happening.
I'm telling you, it's just. Woo!
Well,
I don't know.
The situation is rather too late, like I stated earlier. If the APC family, the APC supporters are coming out at this point in time, they're coming rather too late. Because if you look at the planned protest already, it's getting outside the shores of Nigeria.
Oh, yes.
Because you've seen here, Nigerian democracy on the siege, INEC must return a mandate, judiciary must render justice. There's a US protest planned for April 3rd. There's a UK protest for April 7th, 8th. And then the Nigerian protest is every day at the Unity Fountain in Abuja. So it is going out of just a group of persons to a well-calculated, widespread protest across Nigeria, and that is taken outside the shores of Nigeria. So the APC family is waking up rather too late to even begin to counter protest, because what they're doing is to counter what is currently ongoing, and it's rather too late.
We even had trending videos of Nigerians in diaspora, some of them tearing up their passports and all of that. You know, just people being aggrieved at the results of the elections. It's just a lot. Let's take this other call right now. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello? Okay, we probably might have lost that particular call. Yeah, I know I'm still expecting Honorable Prince to call back. Yes, definitely. Okay, hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, I called earlier, but I think I had a network problem.
Honorable Prince, right?
Yeah, this is Honorable Prince from
Welcome.
All right, welcome back. So
yes,
please go ahead.
I actually want to talk a little bit on the issue of when the election is win, they say go to court. When election is lost, they say go to court. See, this election of 18 is just like this football. Before a match is played, there are always rules and regulations. Is that not so?
Yes.
There are always rules and regulations. And at the cost of playing a match in the pitch, if you go against these rules and regulations, you have to pay for it. Is that not so? You have to pay for it. Okay, let's take for instance now in Benue State here, in my own local government, when they had the election recently on the assembly election and the governorship election. In my own local government, the election of the assembly member was declared inconclusive. Are you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're following.
The election was declared inconclusive. But could you imagine that at the midnight, they went and declared the result in favor of APC? Then all they could say is that go to court. Are we now saying that we don't have trust in our judicial system again? Why is it that when wrong thing is done, they say go to court? There is a clear indication that the judicial system has been hijacked. People are no longer scared or no longer afraid of judicial system. They will do wrong thing, they will ask you to go to court. What is the meaning of that? This is the election I witnessed myself in my own local government when the election was declared inconclusive. Then at midnight they went and declared the result in favor of APC. Is that how it's supposed to be done? Look at what is happening in Nigeria now. Under normal circumstances, when the election is won, everybody is supposed to be jubilating. Nigeria is in the morning condition. Is anybody jubilating over this election that has just taken place, the presidential election? Everybody is crying. Where are we going to in the first place? So those that are going to court, Atiku Abubakar and Obi, I mean, support them. Let them go and retain their mandate. If actually they know that they won the election. We cannot continue like this.
All right, thank you very much, Prince. Thank you very much, Prince. Valid, questions there. He said in his polling units, it was declared inconclusive before, just like Nigerians would say, at night when we slept, INEC announced the result. So these things, really happened during this last cycle of election. But some issues that have been raised so far as we've conversed, Okay, let's just take this one call and then we'll have to straighten out some issues. Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling out from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Spectrum Television.
Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
In fact, you are doing a very nice job.
Thank you. We appreciate.
I'm calling from Benue State.
From Benue?
My name is Victor.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, Victor from Benue. Go ahead.
I'm calling from Ogobia.
Ogobia. All right. Go ahead.
Yes. See, I like your work. You are doing a marvelous job. They enlighten the public. You analyze every bit of what is going on in Nigeria. Kudos and more grace to Elbow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yesterday, I read on one of these dailies. I presume Muhammad Buhari is coming for the second term. He's finishing his second time. He was once a president or head of state. That's one issue that took place. On the issue of drug. He executed 2 people under his regime because of drug issue. Now the president-elect is involved in drug. And are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you. We are following, yes, but just good. I think your television set should be turned low. Yes, we're following.
Okay, sorry. I'll turn it down.
Okay, please do. And then just be quick with your rendition.
Okay. Now the president-elect is involved in drug. Please explain to me, are we going to hand over the mandate to that man?
Let me pause you that you cannot say that the president-elect is involved in drugs. You can rather say he's been fingered to have been involved in issues relating to drugs. And so far, we've not seen any valid evidence or proof that he's been convicted, at least not that I know of for now in Nigeria. So we can only say it's been alleged that he has some involvement with with drugs and related issues.
True.
Okay. So now, are we going to? I don't know the way forward for the judiciary because they are the one to handle this petition.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
I don't know whether you can throw more light on that issue.
Thank you very much.
In terms of throwing more light on that, we had the Chief Justice of Nigeria and Justice Ariwola, Kaji Ariwola, come out and say we aired a video of him earlier on, where he said he is going to serve Nigerians and justice will be served in terms of every election petition that is brought to the court. So at this point, we can only take the jury system in Nigeria for their word. Take their helmsman, the CJ and Ariwola, for his word, at his word rather, when he says we are going to serve justice at the courts. We just hope that we can trust them. The likes of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party says he has a trust in the judicial system of Nigeria to be able to, do right by the proceedings of tribunals. So we'll just hold fingers crossed, really.
Well, let's take this call. When we come back, I'll give you my thoughts on that. Hello, Good morning. Welcome to Rise and Shine. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Chicken. I beg, where can I see that free to air?
Where you can find the free to air to buy. Okay, Ezekiel is asking a technical question. I'm sure our technical guys will note his number and give him a response following. Thank you. We even, as updates, we have switched our frequency on free to air, so you can now find us on 12733. Please rescan your decoder so that you can move along with us as we've upgraded our frequency for free to air 12733. Our polarization remains V, and on DTH we are still on 421. Thank you very much for that last caller. We are sure that you will get that technical response. One more call and then we need to answer a lot of questions that have been raised. Good morning.
Yes, good
What's
morning.
your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Uyo.
Okay,
welcome.
Great. All right, what's your name?
I said, you can actually free to a decoder buy.
Okay, so let me answer that question directly. You just walk into any shop that sells decoders and ask for any decoder that carries the free to air, and they'll will attend to you. And then when you take it home, you can have it set and scan. Okay.
Okay.
So you can get either a strong, you can get either a strong decoder and I think other brands apart from the strong decoders.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
So, but what platform are you currently viewing us on?
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you, but just go get the decoder so you can join us on Spectrum Television. We pretty much appreciate you.
All right, thank you. So this is something I really want to quickly run back. So I think it was Tony Eze who raised the point, the fact that it was the NBA president Yakubu Mekiol who had raised proceedings that the proceedings of the tribunals should be aired live, and we've begun to see people jump on that, and I think is one of the most constructive pushes I have seen in recent times, because if we're having Nigerians and certain candidates saying there was a stolen mandate, we do not want to wait and get closed door reports from a number of journalists who were able to have access to the event. Nigerians want to be able to watch real time as the tribunal proceedings are going. We have situation rooms across different political parties that are pushing petitions. They will be going to the courts with, evidences that they have gathered. And if we continue to raise questions of the fact that we do not trust our Nigerian judicial system, one more way for us to be able to repose some trust in them is if we can follow the process, watch clearly, how the proceedings of the election tribunals will be going on. So we're just waiting to see if the relevant authorities will give accent to the fact that the tribunals will be aired live for Nigerians to watch real time. We do not, want more conversations of hearing, oh, the mandate was stolen, but then the judiciary, got lost in the way and all of those things. This is one more way to repose trust back in the judicial system and also help the minds of Nigerians. I think it's a good move.
Well, the lady of the law is blinded, so she doesn't have favors. Supposedly, she didn't have favors, but the men who sit as judges are not blinded.
Exactly,
and they're not above, yielding to some sentiment or some interest of being sympathetic towards one individual or the other, one party or the other. So Nigerians at this point are at the crossroad. Should we really join the likes of His Excellency Peter Obi to say, yes, we have absolute confidence, we have absolute trust that the judiciary will deliver justice as far as the election, different litigation issues are concerned? Well, a lot of persons would join His Excellency Peter Obi to stand on that side, but another group of Nigerians will stand on this other side of the divide, and of course a significant number who do not believe that the Nigerian judiciary system is capable of delivering justice to the common man. Because over time, we've seen different situations played out, and Nigerians would say those situations didn't play out in favor of those who would have been found culpable of the different incidents, of the different crimes. But then, looking at the statement of Justice Ariwola, the CJN, and then putting that side by side with the expectations of Nigerians, and then the pressure from within and outside the shores of Nigeria, I think for the first time, I like to believe that regardless of whatever sentiments the men on the helms of affairs, the justices of the different courts in Nigeria, they would do due diligence. But again, all of this is going to be dependent on one thing, and that is the depthness of the evidence that these respective candidates have to prove their case. Because there has been, from the legal experts themselves, from the judiciary, from the lawyers themselves, they'll tell you the Nigerian legal system is not like what we have outside the shores of Nigeria, where you have serious investigative job, when you have serious probing, when you have great panels who do their due diligence, when you have security agencies do their due diligence. Okay, Nigerian system is basically based on who provides the most evidence. So if you provide the most evidence that election was rigged and you actually won, you stand the winner. So if in this case, if all Nigerians believe that the election was rigged in favor of, say, the APC president-elect, for instance, and then in court, regardless of what plays out, the APC president-elect team is still able to prove that they won the case, they're still going to stay. But if, on the other hand, the PDP candidate is able to prove with the evidence provided, then he stands to win. If the Labour Party is able to prove, he stands to win. So it boils down to how much material evidence these respective groups have. It also boils down to the legal team, because if there are evidence, the legal team are not able to do their due diligence and defend their case in court, it will still amount to the same thing. So it's a bit
it's dicey here and there.
It's a dicey situation. Either ways, whichever way you look at it.
I think something else that is worthy of note is that this particular cycle of election has really shaken up the polity of the country. I mean, we are looking, we see that we finished the election and we are seeing a move to the court, quote and unquote, like never before. Because why I say that is that there is an expectation on some sector of Nigerians that the results of the elections are going to be upturned by the court. Never ever in a very long time have we seen this expectation from Nigerians, you know, that the result of a presidential election will be upturned by the court. And fingers crossed. So it's going to be a really heated up time. Remember, INEC has said that they need in terms of budget now 3 billion naira to be able to prosecute defense for, you know, the just concluded elections. But something else we, you know, rather quickly glide through here that was raised on the front pages of our national dailies, especially when we talk about the fact that in Nigeria we do not have punishment put on ground for people that air certain guidelines. I mean, someone rightly asked if we are playing, if we are playing football, there are guidelines. If you err, the referee is going to call you to order. Now we've heard, you know, from the IGP, Inspector General of Police, there are reports here of numbers of persons that were arrested over the course of the election, and we hear that trials are going to begin. But we do hope that, like we also said, and we are asking, it's not that we hear that 789 people were arrested across the country from election inconvenience related issues, and then that's all we hear. We never hear how the trials and all of these, you know, matters were how they proceeded with the case. Not also forgetting that sometimes some innocent people might have been arrested, like you just talked about. Do we have quality investigations to make sure that the innocent are not put behind bars, and everyone that is found guilty of, you know, perpetrating any kind of mishap in this just concluded cycle of election receive the due punishment? And then, Francis, we are talking about the fact that let's not just look at, you know, the common everyday tout that was running on the street. Who were the people that called the shots and released them on the street? Investigations should be made, you know, to arrest those people, you know, also not just those that you found with guns on, you know, at polling units, basically. But, you know, these are, you know, some of the conversations we've been able to run through on Rise and Shine this morning, and we really appreciate everyone, you know, that came up with their contributions. But at this time, we'll just take a little bit of our tidbit, and let's start with Did You Know? Hardest working muscle in your body is the high place. Don't break my heart, so that my muscles will pump 2,000 gallons of blood. I need to survive.
Well, if you break my heart, my muscle will still be pumping and it should pump. So, go ahead, no problem. The heart has a strength to withstand.
That's a lot.
It has a strength to withstand.
Hidden somewhere, they're working so hard. Thank you, heart. Yeah. Come on, somebody say thank you to your heart and he who sustains it. All right, let's look at our health tip for today. glass of water early in the morning so that you can take care of hydration of your skin, help, digestion.
Do you drink water first thing in the morning?
I'm rushing to get to Rise and Shine in the morning. I don't remember every day to drink water, please. I do some days, especially like if I kept the water by my bedside, there is a likelihood I'm going to drink, but it doesn't happen every day.
Okay, so we are all guilty.
We are really guilty, but we really need to drink water. International Water Day just happened. Okay, so we just take our quote of the day, and that's how we'll be wrapping it up on the show this morning.
Okay, on our quote of the day, the pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity, but the optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. Herman Weevil, Prime Minister.
Quote of the day. The pessimist sees difficulty in every situation, but an optimist sees, an opportunity. Right now, as Nigerians, some of us are pessimists, some of us are optimists, and we're all really, really going to get the results that we're all thinking about. So if I were you, I would think bright thoughts about Nigeria. I mean, Nigeria is a great country. United we will stand, and this country, the mandate of the people, will survive. Whether it's in this round of election or when we come again, still have faith for this country. This is all we can take and Rise and Shine this morning. My name is Uyai Anyekan. A big thank you to everyone who called and contributed on the show this morning. Even to our production crew, a big thank you. Of course, we'll do this again tomorrow.
And I am Francis Adet. Do ensure to enjoy the rest of your day and remain a law-abiding citizen of this great country called Nigeria. God help us all.